Have you ever stared at your chart, seen a perfectly forming setup, but you still tend to hesitate and you see the trade run to your profit without you? That's called analysis paralysis. And if you don't beat it, it's going to quietly destroy your trading career. Now, you might be asking, Oro, what is analysis paralysis? Or Oro, that sounds exactly like me majority of the times. I always see my trades, but I doesn't follow all of my rules, and I see another confluence that is not following the strategy, and I hesitate, and I miss the trade a lot of times, and it makes me lose confidence. How do I get over this feeling so I can finally trade profitably? Well, good for you. We're going to be breaking that exactly in this video today. I would say analysis paralysis is by far one of the biggest turning points in my own trading career when I really realized what it's like to trade profitably without hesitation. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down exactly what I did to get over that, how you guys can apply the information to get over that, but as well, for those of you newer traders who don't know what this is and might be suffering of it, what is analysis paralysis? So stay tuned in this video. I'm not going to try to make it a long video and cut out all the bullshit, so let's get straight into it. First, let's break down what is analysis paralysis. All right. Analysis paralysis is mainly the concept of trying to get more information and overanalyzing the charts to get a decision for a trade, specifically in the context of trading. The result of analysis paralysis is you getting in so much information to the point where you're barely getting any trades and you're missing out on opportunities, or you're getting into opportunities extremely late where it's not even worth for you entering the opportunity anymore, because you're trying to imagine that the more information I get, the more confluences I can stack, the more right that I am. But the reality is the market doesn't reward you for being right. It rewards you for following a process, following your edge. And if you guys haven't heard that word before, I know you guys have heard that word before, edge, but not in the context of trading. All right, you need to have an edge instead of focusing so much on needing to be right. Now, before I go more into that, I want to talk mainly about what really analysis process comes from. Like, what is the root cause of this? How does it start? And how can we get over it? The main things that cause this analysis paralysis in trading is just the fear of being wrong and fear of losing, right? The fact that you need to be certain that you're going to win this trade and then you'll get in, which there's no certainty in the market. You're never going to be certain you're going to win. Let me just break that to you. Number two is thinking that you need more information, or just having overall too much information, trying to juggle between 10 indicators, a bunch of different news feeds, and a bunch of different timeframes and charts all together. All right, all that information is going to overwhelm your brain, lead you to make execution mistakes that are going to cause you to fumble your trades and miss profitable trades, right? If you have a lot of these confluences, you're rarely going to see them add up together and formulate a single judgment. You could be taking like one trade every single month and still end up losing majority of the months because analysis paralysis exists. Another thing could be just you lack the confidence in your own strategy, in the plan that you've developed for yourself for your trade for the day, right? Or don't even trust your own edge, yet even have an edge. And finally, another thing I see is just ego. Overall, just having a perfectionist type of mindset where you need to have everything lining up perfectly the way you want to for you to want to get in. But the reality is, in these markets, it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to look perfect. You need to follow a process and execute based on what your process tells you. That's what you should be considering perfect if you have the perfectionist mindset. All right? Like, back to what I was saying about how this is one of the biggest turning points in my career. I'll give you guys a personal example. When I traded SMC about 2 years ago, Smart Money Concepts, you guys have heard of it, ICT, stuff like that. I didn't trade too deep. I wasn't going too deep in the rabbit hole of learning ICT, but I did the Smart Money Concepts of order blocks, breakup structures, liquidity sweeps here and there, and fair value gaps. I started to realize that, okay, the strategy is all right, but I'm not winning all the time. I feel like I could get more information, because SMC, from the way I see it, is all about trying to get as much information and predicting where the market's going to go. My brain was telling me that, all right, I'm right sometimes, and I'm understanding the right direction, but I'm not catching the right entry sometimes, and I'm wrong. I need to get more information on how to time and bottom tick my entry perfectly to the T every single trade I get in. So I went a little bit into the rabbit hole of learning more about ICT concepts like breaker block and a few other concepts and whatnot, like back around 2 years ago when it wasn't as popular. And I started to add some of these rules into my trades. I started to go back and backtest my trades and go over on the chart and see how it performed. And I realized, like, I look back on my actual journal and me tracking my trades, and I see I have so many confluences that I'm looking to enter. And every single morning I got up to trade on the market, my mind would be overwhelmed at how many things I'm looking for. And I'd always have a conflicting bias in my mind and like think I'm seeing some of my confluences tell me one thing and sometimes tell me another thing. And there would rarely be one day out of the month where I see all the confluences lining up together and I'm getting my entry. And sometimes, even when I have everything lining up together, I'd even lose a trade and I'd be wrong on the bias and wrong on my entry. And I would be just completely frustrated and not understand why my strategy is not working when I've perfected it so much, added so many confluences that are supposed to work, but I still end up losing and I'm still not right. That's when I realized and I dove deep into what is analysis process. And I didn't know this existed before this. I didn't know this was a thing. I actually had a friend who told me, I was like venting to a friend about how my strategy is not working good. I feel like I know what I'm doing. I'm getting more information and I'm breaking down exactly where I think the market's going to go. And I'm right sometimes on the direction and not good on my entries. And I explain my process and they're telling me, dude, like they're not in too deep into trading. They're not too involved in like the space, but they're like, dude, you sound like you're overcomplicating everything. Like I'm not a trader. This is their perspective. I'm not a trader, but you sound like you're trying to make sure you have everything in control and making sure everything looks perfect and trying to take in so much information when like that's usually not how things work in the real world and in other spaces. You don't want to be a perfectionist and you don't want to make things too complicated. You just want to have a simple process of doing things. And bear in mind, they're not a trader, but they're telling me this information. So I'm thinking they could have a point here, and I see what they're saying and how this could be affecting me. So I take it into consideration. I go dive deeper into my approach and I look deeper and I see that analysis process is actually a very common problem a lot of traders have, where they're trying to constantly predict and get certainty in every trading decision that they make. And this is especially common in the ICT smart money concept trading space because it's all about predicting the market and it's all about predicting which liquidity price is going to go to, which thing it's going to tap into and what direction it's going to go, how to exactly trail your stop loss and exactly where your TP should go, bottom ticking, top ticking, everything. And that entire mindset and style of trading is going to set you for failure long term because real traders don't try to bottom tick, try to top tick, and try to be right in predicting the price every single time. They focused on following the process and the need to follow their process, not the need to be right, and focusing on following their edge. That's what they need to focus on. So now if you're in that analysis process situation that I was in the past, here's exactly what you can do, actionable steps that you can do to get past that. All right. First things first, if you don't already have this, make a simple set of rules, a checklist, whatever you need, breaking down every single thing that you need to look for to get into a trade. And if you're thinking, oh, I don't want to do that, that's so much writing, there's going to be such a long checklist, that's a sign that you need to do this because you probably have an overcomplicated strategy that's causing you to have this analysis process, and you need to break down your strategy to see how long your checklist is and where to cut out the extra information. All right, once you have this checklist down, fully written out, start cutting off the stuff that seems extra and it's not really necessary. You feel like it's probably causing you that overthinking and that overanalyzing. Once you cut those out, I want you to go and backtest that set of criteria that you've developed on your finalized checklist. All right, it should be no more than like five things for like your entry criteria. You can have certain things for bias, probably like three different criteria for your bias and about 5 criteria for your entries max. All right, I have about 2 criteria for my bias and like 3 or 4 criteria for my entry. All right, that's all I do. All right, and then also make sure you have a checklist for your stop loss and your take profit and how your trade management as well, so you know exactly every component of your plan, every component of your strategy. Once you have this down, I want you guys to go on the trading day the next morning and take only one trade. All right, one trade with one chart, one market. You're not going to look at 5 different charts. You're not going to look at 5 different Forex pairs. You're not going to look at gold and the Dow and ES and NQ. You're going to look at purely ES or purely NQ and execute that simplified checklist that you've developed for yourself so you can minimize that overanalyzing. All right. And I want you guys to understand, shift your mindset from thinking I need to be right to I need to follow my process. I need to follow my checklist. All right. And if it helps, start on demo. If you're on a funded account or a live account, cut that out and start on demo or start on some sort of paper trading platform where you can trade with very like no risk on the line, so you can get over that over analyzing perspective. And if you really want, or like, oh, I don't want to trade on demo, I want to trade on my funded, then just risk small on your funded. Go small size so you can not have to worry about the money you're putting in, and you're focused on your actual execution. All right. And one thing that especially will help you guys dive deep into the mindset part of this is journaling. I know a lot of people talk about this, but they don't say how to properly journal. I have a section in my description where you guys can go copy my Notion template for my journal, where you guys can go and write about your trades and reflect and properly track your trades as well, so you can actually make improvements in your trading performance and your decision making, and the template to be able to make your trading plan for what you look for your checklist every single day going into the market with your strategy. So you can make a duplicate of both those two and fill out your own strategy and your own plan and your journals based off of your own trading. So go ahead and do that after this video, and then fill in your details. But back to the journaling. Every single time you take a trade, I want you to go in that Notion journal and open a page, put the picture of your trade you took, and write down in the overview section exactly what your thought process was. What were you thinking before the trade was forming, as the trade was forming, when you're about to enter? What were you thinking in terms of your rules or like the market? Were you like hesitant on getting in? Did you want to jump in early? Did you get your setup, or you're still not having confidence? This is the most important time, because you're writing about your thought process, and over time, after journaling so many trades, you'll see a common flaw or a common mistake that's repeated in your thought process, and you can tackle that exactly and break that down, because that's going to be the root cause of why you're making these mistakes. So that's why journaling is so effective, but doing it the right way is even more effective. You don't want to elaborate too much and just like have an excess of words that don't really have any meaning or any significance. Just write important stuff about what your thought process was, how you felt. Did you break any rules? Why did you feel hesitant? Why were you not confident? Or if you were confident, why were you confident? And did you follow your process or not? Did you feel like, were you feeling the need to be right, or were you feeling the need to follow my process? All right. Focus on documenting that kind of information. Once you do that, over time, you guys will start to see your mindset is slowly shifting from the need to be right to the need to follow my process. Okay. So that pretty much sums up the video. There's literally nothing more to analysis paralysis than just journaling and focusing on keeping your trading simple and not over analyzing the chart. You don't need to be right. You just need to follow a process, and that process needs to be your edge. And if you don't have an edge, then that's exactly what you need to tackle. I have several videos broken down as well that teaches you how to build an edge. I don't know if I can link them all, but there's several videos on my page. If you guys just go on my videos, I talk a lot about how to actually build a profitable strategy and break it down exactly, step by step. Definitely check that out. But if you guys are suffering with this analysis paralysis, I want you guys to go to the comment section and talk about the worst moments that you've had dealing with analysis paralysis. Like, break down your moments so other people who might relate to you can also share this experience, and you guys can kind of talk about any commonalities in your mindset, any flaws in your mindset, and you guys can eventually even come to a realization together. All right. So let us know down in the comments below some of the worst moments you've had with analysis paralysis. Some people might even reach out to help you as well. So hopefully you guys got a lot of value out of this video. If you guys are hesitating a lot on your trades, seeing that you're over analyzing the charts, don't fall under analysis paralysis. Keep your strategy simple. Focus on the need to follow my process and not the need to be right, because the market doesn't reward you for being right. It rewards you for following your edge and having an edge. That's what really makes you profitable. All right. I'll catch you guys in the Discord or in the next YouTube video. Peace.